What's going on, Omnibuddies? Mitch here, and today we are doing an Omnibuddy overview. What are we looking at? We are looking at something from Marvel, not typically something that I cover, but it comes from my childhood, a movie that I grew up absolutely loving. These are the movie adaptations. This is Planet of the Apes Adventures Omnibus. All right, so before I get things started, this is very much Golden Age movie adaptations. If you do not enjoy the Planet of the Apes series, you will not enjoy this. Just gonna preface that with this. But you know what? I've been on a big Planet of the Apes kicks. I've been watching the latest trilogy that just came out. Well, not just came out, but the latest trilogy to come out. Where, you know, like it's a lot more realistic. They give a lot more backstory. You know, it's the whole rise and war and all that kind of stuff for Planet of the Apes, and they give a really good reason why the apes won over the humans. I won't spoil it because, you know, if you haven't seen it, it's actually a really good movie series. But this adapts the original Planet of the Apes series. I do gotta say, it is absolutely the smallest omnibus I own. Look at how tiny that little font is. We'll do a comparison to the last Marvel omnibus I got compared to this. But it is Golden Age, so it does take quite a bit longer to read than a traditional current age modern comic. So this is the regular variant. This is not the DM variant. OPB was all sold out of the DM variant, sadly, but you know what? This one's still pretty cool. But yeah, you know what? Let's quit talking about it like this and let's take a look at the book. All right, so here we have the Planet of the Apes Adventures Omnibus. This is the original Marvel years. This is the regular cover. This is not the DM variant. The DM variant is very much the old school look to it. Very cool, but OPB was out of that one, so I went with this one. Here is the back of the cover, so it's definitely got that like Golden Age, bronze or whatever look to it. Very cool stuff. Not quite wraparound or anything like that, but definitely matches on front and back. You know, very cool. So this is collecting the Planet of the Apes, Adventures of the Planet of the Apes 1 through 11, illustrated or written by Doug Moench and illustrated by George Tuska and Alfredo Alcala. Jeez, wow. Anyways, so this is obviously big talk of the town of how thin this omnibus is, but I wanted to just kind of demonstrate it with the last Marvel omnibus I got. So this is the War of the Kings omnibus right here next to the Planet of the Apes. Now I will say, you know, it's that Golden Age or Bronze Age, what Golden Age I believe it is. So it does read a lot slower because a lot of times there's just a lot more text on the page. But yeah, still pretty thin, especially considering it only collects 11 issues. Let's get the dust jacket off. So it's got nice printing on the actual hard covers that wraps around, which is cool. They did a nice job with that. And then, yeah, of course, they still have the spine on there. That is probably the world's smallest omnibus text I've ever seen on a book. Just absolutely tiny to squeeze that on there. But yeah, so let's get this open. It's just got some general all black end sheets and paper. It's got some good quality actual. I didn't notice the paper being too thin. I have a light right here and actually over here. And then just some lights on top so you can kind of see a little bit through the paper right now because, you know, it's shining through, a light literally shining through. So you can kind of see a little bit of stuff through there. But yeah, so yeah, so we got all the people involved right here. And then we got the contents of all 11 issues. And it's got some really nice cover art on each issue. Really enjoyed that. And then it just jumps right in. And it's pretty much, I mean, it's got this, pretty solid amount of white around the borders. I don't know that it ever goes all the way to the edges for like full page spreads or anything like that. But it's definitely got some nice scale to it, and I didn't notice any weird things with the art. I can't speak to how the colors look in comparison to the colors as they are or as they were originally drawn, but they seem pretty nice. They're pretty good. But yeah, this is basically a retelling of the first two Planet of the Apes movies, Planet of the Apes and Beneath the Planet of the Apes. I know there's more, but that's what this does. And it actually has, if you're familiar with the contents, you'll know why they could definitely just cut it at movie 2. So I won't show the end of that, so don't worry, there won't be major spoilers. Obviously some people die in the very beginning, but it does scooch along pretty good, and it has some, I'll say there's some problematic parts with it, just, the old ways of thinking, sometimes are problematic. And, through the lens of Planet of the Apes is very much an allegory for, like all the isms, racism, sexism, all that kind of stuff. So it definitely has, it's that lens, but also through that you can kind of see like, wow, they're still, they were trying to deal with this, but they were still really having to deal with it. 3 naked dudes. They don't show anything, so I won't worry too much. And they get pretty quickly into it with the apes and trying to figure out what's going on. Let's see. What is this? This is 200 and I want to say like 223 pages. Is that what it was? Let's see. Yeah, 223 pages of pretty much straight up all story, which was pretty cool. Really fun reliving this. Nova's in here, Taylor, all of them are in here, dealing with all the different apes and all the characters, if you're familiar with the movies that you know and love. I will say my one big qualm with this book is I could not, it's been a long time since I've seen the movie, so I did not know, Zira and Zayas, I didn't know genders or necessarily, I couldn't really tell them apart too much. I mean, some of them have a very distinct look, but I mean, a couple of them are very similar looking, so it was kind of hard to keep them all straight in my head, and especially when there's like Zira and Zayas and all very, very funky names that I, that aren't really traditionally names that I would use now or have heard much. So trying to keep them all straight. But yeah, the story is super cool. I was very impressed with the lettering, actually. The lettering had like a lot of great bolding and interesting dialogue bubbles, and like how they use it was one of the first ones I've really realized, outside of like thought bubbles, but like the more jagged being like a stronger words or something versus just regular speech. But yeah, the lettering was great. Oh man, I really actually enjoyed how they did this. For being a Bronze Age book, there wasn't actually, I mean, there's some pages with a ton of text on it that definitely take a while to get through versus, modern age. But especially when they get into like the trials and things, it's just a lot of dialogue. But then there's a lot where it's just kind of chase scenes and running. I think the first book was a little bit long. It took me a little bit longer to get through because it had a lot of that trial stuff and kind of setup, versus the second book jumps into, it's a lot more of a chase, and someone else comes to the planet and things like that, and trying to, let's see, I think, yeah, this is still So now, you know, obviously that's, I guess, a little bit of a spoiler, but for anyone who's never heard of or seen the Planet of the Apes, I don't know. But anyways, so yeah, about halfway through the book, you end up in Beneath the Planet of the Apes. So it's definitely a part 1, part 2 type situation in here. Really cool art, actually. I thought the art was really well done and holds up super well. I actually thought the coloring was really nice too, like some really well done clouds and depth. A lot of times there's not much depth, it seems like, but in this book it had a lot of really great depth in it. I mean, you do get some where it's like just, nope, it's just characters, no background. But then you get shots like this where it's just got a lot of background stuff going on. And, you know, they definitely do throw some scenery in there. So it worked. It's not that, you know, where you're just missing, it's just characters on top of boxes the whole time. There is definitely a lot of good texture to it and good paneling and structure and really good, actually, like, some of them, like the faces that they do, are a little bit, can get a little bit wonky, especially with the eyes. Like so some of the eyes are a little bit weird, but definitely, you know, just playing around. I do enjoy the art when they're like, you know, make them look like cavemen, and you know the ape is calling them stupid animals when he's got that hunch and he looks like, you know, like the traditional like stupid monkey. But definitely some really cool art and design with the costumes and a lot of foliage in here. Really good stuff. I really enjoyed this. I did not think at all that I would enjoy it near as much as I did, but I just tore through this. Oh, I did take a picture of this because it's a monkey with a gun, and it reminded me of the meme from Hellboy and BPRD. Look out, he's got a gun. The monkey's got a gun. Blam! So I kind of want to redo that meme with those panels because it was hilarious. Yeah. Anyways, I laughed and took some pictures because I wanted to do it. Anyways, sorry, I got a little bit of a running nose, so hopefully I'm not sniffling too much in here. But really cool stuff, really interesting dynamics between friendships between the apes and some of the apes and the people, and how the humans treat each other and the apes treat each other, and how they see each other as animals versus people with souls and beings. I won't go too much into I don't want to show the end because, you know, that I don't want to show the end. So that's the extras right there. Those are the last 2 pages behind this page. So that is the extras. I will say I was a lot disappointed that there weren't many extras in here because I would have loved to see panel structure and like panel progression sketches from the pencils and sketches to inks to colors and all of that. I would have absolutely loved to see that because I see it a lot for these older or for the newer modern Marvel books and kind of see how they work, but I would have loved to have been able to see how they work with the books from this day. So really cool book. I really enjoyed it. Maybe a little bit on the expensive side, being that it's $100 USD, but overall, I thought, you can get it way cheaper, through Organic Price Books and other discount stores too. So you can definitely get that. I feel like this might get discounted in the future, but who knows at this point with the publishing, with the publishers and all of that. But definitely a very fun pickup if you can afford it and are at all interested in the older Planet of the Apes stories. Definitely a great way to relive the movies that I grew up on without having to go watch the movies, because sometimes the movies are a little rough. But this was a great way to blend that nostalgia of those old movies with the comic reading experience. All right, so that was a quick overview look at Planet of the Apes Adventures. You know what, after reading this, I'm really excited to go back, and I really want to watch the movies again, just to see how very closely they adapted it. I know that they're very, very close, especially if you look like plot descriptions of the book versus the movies. Very close for the first two movies. So I want to go and read some more Planet of the Apes and some cool adaptations. Not adaptations, but just some like original comic stories. And just get some more Planet of the Apes because it's a lot of fun. And I really need to finish the third movie of the newest trilogy that came out. I'm like halfway through it and I got distracted because that's me. I get halfway through a book, a movie, a show, and then I get completely distracted by something else. So I need to go back and finish that because it's a phenomenal movie. Definitely up there in one of the better like sci-fi cool movies that have, at least trilogies even, that have come out in the past probably 10 years, at least in my opinion. So super cool. I didn't think I was going to enjoy the Golden Age stuff, but I really did. And it actually, I think I read through it in about 3 sittings, maybe 4 sittings. There's one where I only got to read for, like 10, 20 minutes. But it actually scooted through. I mean, it's a pretty thin book, even though it's Golden Age. So you scooch through it pretty quickly. But it was super enjoyable. There were, there were those problematic parts with sexism. And I mean, the whole thing is very much an allegory to all the different, it seems like, isms that we deal with nowadays. So very interesting to look at it in that lens. Obviously that it was made for something in that type of lens. So really cool to see that. Obviously there's a little bit of problematic parts to it still inside of that. But overall, really cool read, really fun, really great nostalgia bomb. To go back and do some Planet of the Apes, the original adventures. Awesome. It was awesome. I loved it. If you want to check it out, you can always hit up channel sponsor Organic Price Books. Use code Omnibuddy for $2 off every order, or if you're ordering 3 or more books, use code Omnibuddy, ship it together, all one word, and you can get 5% off your entire order. If you're pre-ordering books, be careful because the books that are in stock are going to be waiting to ship with the books that you're pre-ordering. So you might want to do like all in-stock books or books that are about to drop on pre-order. But you can support the channel, support OPB. Great place. You will not find better shipping, better communication, and really you're probably, especially with those codes, not going to find a better price around. So make sure to hit them up, find some Planet of the Apes, find some old nostalgic books. I'm really excited to jump into the Adam Warlock Omnibus pretty soon. It's got that old school flavor to it and just that, I'm certain, you know what, when I first started reading comics, I didn't really like it. I didn't really like Silver Age, Golden Age, Bronze Age, any of that stuff, but man, it's starting to grow on me the older I get. Maybe it's just that I'm getting older, so I don't know. Anyways, really excited to check out some more Planet of the Apes and that Adam Warlock book coming up. So don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, do all those things. But the most important thing to do, I say this in all my videos, comment. Let me know in the comments what your favorite comic, or not what your favorite, what your next comic is that you're going to be reading. So right now I got a couple of them up. I'm reading the Altered Carbon Download Blues, and then actually it's right here. I got Light Carries On. Looks pretty cool. So those are the books that I am currently reading right now. Well, I'm reading a ton of books currently, but those are the ones I'm actually taking with me on my trip that I leave for in a little bit to read through, and one of the latest ones I've started too. So, all right, let me know in the comments, what books are you going to be starting when you finish the one that you're currently reading? All right, I'll let you go. Take care. Stay cool.